I launched myself literally without hesitation at the main guy in the middle, and I swing like full Superman punch, everything, and I hit him directly in the face. And when I hit him, it felt like I punched a steel wall. He didn't even react. And as soon as my fist made contact, and I felt that, I was like, I just kind of pause for a second, and I go, "Okay, this isn't gonna work." So I turn around and just take off. I'm like, "Okay, I need to get out of here." And as soon as I take off, I can feel them pursuing me.
Welcome back to Piercing the Shroud. Today we're going to be doing a special edition episode, a segment that will likely be recurring called Kade's Astral Arena because he's always fighting stuff in the astral.
Not a
So,
lot of stuff.
do
A lot of stuff. It's very frequent.
you remember when this specific one went down?
Um, Maybe 6 months ago, I would say. It
Okay, so
was
that
when
one
I,
was this recent.
yeah, it was when I was in here in New Mexico. So whenever I had that encounter, whenever I had this one encounter happen, this was I've had a lot, but this is one of the ones that definitely stuck with me. It's a very interesting one for sure.
So, yeah,
Very.
let's dive right into it. Did it like start as something else, or did you just kind of like come to and you're like you were in this place?
No, it started as a normal, like, just astral travel for me. Just, going around exploring, doing my normal thing. And then I don't know if I went there willingly or if I can't remember if I went. No, I got like pulled. That's what it was. I got like pulled into like this like old looking house. It looked like a big manor, like a big nice mansion almost. Like I don't know, the best way to describe it would be like an old British mansion, something like you would see in like a,
Like some like Victorian era?
yeah, like Victorian like royalty manor, something like that. It's really pretty inside, but it was not a fun time while I was in there. It wasn't a positive experience. That's for sure.
This place was like really vast.
So I figured out quickly that it was vast when I first got in there. It just looked like a normal house.
Okay.
But when I was in the room that I was in, I was like at the bottom of I was in the middle of this like foyer area. Like you see in like the big foyers with a big staircase that goes up and kind of splits into two and goes to different sides. It was like that. I was on like a big
Right.
foyer at the base of the stairs, and it was already decent size, but while I was standing there, I watched the building start to shift and warp and grow. And then I would find out later on that it was kind of like not necessarily the TARDIS from Doctor Who, but like it would constantly shift and rearrange itself so that I couldn't find my way out, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like it was constantly building new rooms or places for me to go and in internal biomes inside of the building that I would come to, like a garden or like a little forest or you know a whiskey room, but like a big whiskey room with like giant walls just full of bottles of wine and whiskey everywhere and leather chairs and big chandeliers and all that kind of stuff. Like it seemed random, but it seemed to fit on theme with how it was going. At least like the building had a set theme, like a domain that it was focused around a specific theme.
Was it dark or like well lit and there?
No, it was dark. It was kind of more like candlelight lit. Like there was chandeliers and stuff, but the chandeliers had big candles on them. It wasn't like modern day LED lighting. It was all the light source was either sunlight from windows or candles, just big candles everywhere.
Okay, interesting. And so it wasn't even like a sort of natural or like a you know how a lot of astral things will have its own like light source, like everything's just kind of like lit up and you don't see the source. This actually had like candles and stuff,
Yeah,
and that's what
candles
above
and a
beyond.
little bit of I mean, I get it could have been sunlight maybe from out the window, but it could have just been that light from the actual thing. But the way
Hmm.
it was set
Right.
up was that the house was uh felt like it was, candles, but there were actual candles that were getting off light, but there were light coming in through the windows that reminded me of sunlight. So it could have been the what you were describing, the whole light from the actual experience. It just things are just kind of lit up like that. But the inside of the house did kind of feel like dark and the words coming to mind, I guess oppressive
Hmm.
is the word coming to mind, or not really oppressive, but like maybe depressing or like I would say depressing probably is the best one. And I know depressing.
Happy place. Okay, so and from there, like from inside the foyer, like how does this progress?
So it starts off with me in the foyer, me just kind of appearing in the foyer, and I'm looking around, obviously, like I'm taking in the whole scenery around me because everything just felt weird. It felt off now. I felt myself get pulled here. So in my head, I'm like, okay, there's a reason why I was pulled here. And it's usually, from my experience, whenever I end up somewhere, is an entity or a being pulls me there to fuck with me or to talk to me or something. So I'm like, okay, who's here? And I look up at the top of the stairs, and there are 6 people standing at the top of the stairs, and they're standing in like a triangle formation with I'm assuming the alpha or the one that was in charge of the group was the one in front at the very point of the triangle, and then to uh, my left, his right was 3 women, and then including him to the other side were men. So there were 3 women and 3 men, and they were all old. And I say no, not like like 70s old, like 80s old. They were like maybe 50s old. They looked like about in their late 50s. They had gray hair or salt and pepper, very salt peppered hair, but they're all wearing very nice, like Victorian era, like outfits, like really nice, like tuxedo, almost like at least the men were. The women were wearing like very elegant dresses and all that kind of stuff, but more. It wasn't like the big flowy dresses that you would see in like Renaissance era pictures. It was more tame, but they looked very expensive
More sleek.
almost. Yeah, very sleek.
D- Did they look healthy? Like, and they
I
just look
mean,
like normal humans?
they looked like normal humans, but there was something off about them. The way that they're present and the energy they gave off, but also the fact that they were like 9 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot tall,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's important.
and their eyes were weirdly dark. Like they
Okay.
weren't like solid black or anything like that, but there was no light in them. Like when you look at someone's eyes, you see the light in their eyes. There was no light in their eyes. It was just kind of just dark.
Hmm.
Just
Okay. A vacancy.
yeah, vacancy. Like they didn't have that light you would expect to see in another human's eyes. Like they've seen some shit, kind of darkness you'd see, but they didn't really speak much, honestly. When I first saw them, it was more of a like a download or like an almost an immediate intention that I felt directed at me. It was like, we want you. We want to consume you. kind of thing. And I was like, uh, no.
Okay.
Okay. But my standard response when I say no is to swing. So, and I'm at the bottom of the steps. So on the astral plane, I normally have super strength, flight, like stuff like that, that I can normally utilize when I'm on the astral plane fighting stuff. So I launched myself literally without hesitation at the main guy in the middle, and I swing like full Superman punch, everything, and I hit him directly in the face. And when I hit him, it felt like I punched a steel wall, and he didn't move. He didn't even react. And as soon as my fist made contact, and I felt that, I was like, I kind of pause for a second, and I go, okay, this isn't gonna work. So I literally turn around and just take off. I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. So I turn around and just start taking off deeper into the house. And as soon as I take off, I can feel them pursuing me, like very rapidly pursuing me. And I'm like running down hallways and diving through doors and all this kind of stuff. But as I'm running, the building is shifting around me. Like I'd run toward a turn, and all of a sudden the door would shift slightly over, and I have to jump in real quick. And I'd get in a hallway, and the hallway would bend in front of me and go up and down. And I'm running and flying as fast as I can. I'm diving through doorways and windows and stuff. But the entire time I'm doing this, I could feel them behind me, pursuing me. They're like, you know that feeling you get when your hair sticks up on the back of your neck? I felt that the whole
Mhm.
time. So I'm not like I'm not necessarily scared, but I'm more of like I can't really. It doesn't seem like I can hurt them currently. I haven't figured out a way to hurt them, so I'm trying to make distance so I can figure out a plan here to either figure out how to hurt them or to escape the building. Eventually, I did manage to lose them for a little bit, and I ended up in this small, like, I guess, meeting room, like a gathering room that they had, like a social room with multiple, like, chairs, like leather couch chairs. They're really nice. Like, library books everywhere on the wall, and they had a small bar on the side of the thing with like whiskey and wine and all that kind of stuff.
And this is like
And laying on the
separate from
bar,
the big whiskey room.
yeah, yeah, it was separate from that. And on the bar, there was a really nice like pencil. Like I'm talking like very ostentatious, like expensive ass pencil for no reason. Like super ornate, like engraved with like gold and like just super gaudy and shit. But I was like, I didn't see anything else to use as a weapon. So I grabbed that and I was like, okay, I got nothing else. I'm gonna grab this pencil. And I grabbed the pencil and I took it with me because it was decent. It was like that big. It was a big ass pencil. So I grabbed it like a knife or like a dagger. It was the
We take
equivalent.
we write our notes with only the finest.
Yeah, they right there. Was only the finest of pencils, legendary, worth like $10,000 pencils. Um, but I took the pencil with me and I started moving through the house again, trying to find my way out of it. And you'd think, oh well, why didn't you just kind of tug on the astral string a little bit and yank your astral body back to your physical body and wake up. I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't. They were preventing me. That other domain was preventing me from returning to my body. So I was like, okay, so I have to get out of this domain or defeat these entities before I can do anything to get out of here. So I have the pencil in hand, and right after I pick up the pencil is when I get that feeling again that they're closing in on me. And I turn around, and as I turn around, one of the the older lady entities, comes very rapidly around the corner. And my first instinct again is to swing, but this time I have the pencil in hand. And I go to stab in the throat. I immediately go for her throat with the pencil. And the pencil, when I make contact, the pencil explodes. Like, you ever watch those like videos of people crushing stuff with a hydraulic piston and it just kind of goes out everywhere? It was
Mhm.
like that. I stabbed her in the throat with the pencil. I literally watched the pencil collapse in on itself and then explode as it hit it. It was like one of those moments where I just kind of paused again, and she was surprised. She looked almost surprised by my reaction with that too. We kind of just looked at each other for a second, and then And then I started booking it again. I started running and running and running. And it was like, it was a big one of those Scooby Doo chase scenes almost. I'm getting chased around this house and again, ducking through doors. The pencil didn't work. Punching the guy in the face didn't work, which I normally have and it usually works. Didn't work. So I'm trying to find my way out. And the entire time, I can still feel them chasing me. They're not always behind me, but I can feel them like a like an my internal voice saying they're pursuing me to the house, like they're trying to locate me, and I could feel them moving in the domain around me, trying to find me. Eventually, I end up back in the foyer again with the big staircase, and I'm at the bottom of the staircase again, the exact same place where I was when I first got there. And I'm kind of like, I kind of pause because I'm kind of thinking, and then I feel all of them. Now I turn around, and all six of them are standing at the top of the staircase in the exact same formation as before, the triangle again, with that guy in the front. And I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at them, and all of a sudden I just kind of get like an idea. This entire time, I usually punch, but I don't normally imbue my strikes with like chi, spiritual energy, whatever you want to call it. Um, when I do it, because when I do that on the astral plane, normally I have to do it consciously. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't really have anything else to try, so I might as well try that. So I moved back from because they started advancing down the stairs toward me, all six of them at once. It was weird. It was like they're in like perfect sync, and they moved down the stairs, but the triangle never changed, like a wall. They were like coming toward me, and this entire time they haven't spoken yet.
Mhm.
They haven't spoken at all this entire time. So I like jump back and imbue my hands with chi, and it like starts to blaze around my hands, and I push outward like a burst of chi just to like test the waters almost to see what it does. And this big burst of energy goes toward the main guy in the middle, and he, for the first time, actually reacts and recoils, moving back from me. But he doesn't like. It was kind of obvious he was trying to like play it cool, almost like it didn't affect him. So he just kind of recoiled and like almost like slid back without very much body movement. But I could see it in his face that he was affected by it, and he spoke for the first time. He said, "Do you really think that would do anything?" And my response was, "Well, obviously it did because it made you move, fuckhead." And but when I did that though, not only did he move back, but I felt the domain around me, the building, it kind of shook and like rumbled because I guess that they lost focus for a little bit amount of time and it stabilized temporarily. So instinctually, I turned around after that and ran again, and I could feel them pursuing me again after a couple seconds. But that burst of energy was enough to destabilize their domain a little bit enough that that it couldn't shift anymore. So I was
Oh.
sprinting and I rounded a corner and I see a door that literally says exit on it. And I was like, I I busted through the door and I was back outside with this like big green grassy like knoll hill ahead of me. And I was like, and I dove onto the hill and I was just laying on the hill, I was laying on the hill, like breathing, like, oh, I made it out. And I could feel them behind me again. So I turned around, like rolled over and looked back at the door. And they're all six standing in the doorway, like leaned over like that, like looking around the door frames at me, but they couldn't leave the house.
Mhm.
There's something like it was a download or just something that told me I was safe because they could not leave that domain. They were trapped there. So I got out, and then after that, I yanked my body, my astral body, back to my body and woke up. But I went on this whole Scooby Doo chase thing in this warping house against these six elder entities, and I don't know what they were, but it made me think at the end. I'm like, I think I was laying there on the grass, and one of the first thoughts I had after I saw their faces was, man, I wish I had just imbued my chi at the beginning. That punch would have rocked that guy.
Going in for round two. Turn your
Yeah,
head.
I'm going nip around too. There, another weakness. Yeah. I'll walk back into the house. What's up? Oh. And just start
So
thumbing him.
are all the
Huh?
door frames as tall or taller than they are?
Uh, no, the exit one didn't seem to be.
No.
It seemed to be like my
Oh
height, like
right, like
and so they were like hunched over, all six of them, like creepily looking at me around the door frames as I'm like, they look very upset that I made it out.
oh shit, we
But
can't leave here.
that door was my size, but all the other doors that I had experienced were really huge doors. So
Okay,
I don't know if I created that door to escape the domain because it was my size, so maybe I made the door to escape the
right.
domain, which would make sense.
That would track.
And then just that's just how it appeared to me. It's a big exit sign, big glowing, like it was even like the little metal push
Oh
in the
really?
door with a big glowing exit sign, and I was like, I pushed through the door.
Like some school exit,
Yeah, like a school exit. Yeah, it looked like one of
right?
those like metal push
Or
bar thingy
hospital.
thing. Yeah,
That's awesome. Funny that the door was just like straight up a school door, just like taken from your subconscious and like
yeah. I it's like I
pasted
took
there.
the it's like I took the old high school exit door and just dropped it into their domain to be like for my subconscious and just be like, all right, this is where I'm gonna go to get out. Subconsciously just run and then dove through it. So, normally I don't run from
That's not
things.
Victorian.
That's normally not what I do, is run from things. Normally I fight things and defeat them, banish them, kill them, whatever it is. But normally I do that instead of running. I haven't run from anything before that or since then. So, you know,
Allegedly.
allegedly that I can remember. So, yeah.
Block those out. Just
Huh?
kidding. I said you block those out.
Yeah, I don't block us out because I don't want to remember my failures.
So, where do you think you were whenever you exited their domain?
I don't know, to be honest. I was like I said, I when I jumped out of the door, like this big grassy hill knoll thing. But when I got on it and I kind of crawled up the after I turned around and looked at them and laid down for a second, I moved up the to the top of the hill, and it was like I was looking out at like a destroyed city,
Oh,
like a post-apocalyptic. It made me think of like a post-apocalyptic city, like a destroyed city, like trees and plants were growing everywhere, buildings were dilapidated, and windows are broken. It was vacant and empty.
okay. So like reclaimed by nature, essentially.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that how their manor looked from the outside too?
No, their manor looked like maintained. It looked it stood out amongst. And if I think about it now, it stood out significantly compared to the other buildings. It was like it was well maintained compared to the dilapidated nature reclaimed building. So I don't know what that was or who they were. I know they were powerful
At least within their domain.
within their domain because they can't leave it. But I'm interested in what they are. So I haven't really tried to do any research to look into it. Maybe I should and see if there's like other people who have experiences with six entities that resemble 50-year-old, like 50s women and men that are trying to
Right.
consume them,
Like, if
or
anyone watching this, has, like, had an experience where they've, encountered beings like this, definitely, drop it in the comments 'cause, there's a lot of overlap that people seem to encounter in the astral realms. Kinda like the, like, big, like, sombrero guy that so many people have seen or, like, the old hag. And there was one that, kinda blew up a while back, this, like, kinda just weird, normal-ish looking guy with, like, glasses who was, like, appearing to all these different people in dreams, like, people were, like, drawing images of him and being like, "This I saw this guy in my dream,"
oh
and
yeah,
then
I
other
remember hearing
people
about
were
that.
like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, I saw him too," like, he's been coming to my dreams as well.
yeah, it's a big overlap.
Mhm.
What they are, who, what kind of entities they are, what they're doing, but they're definitely experiencing, definitely invading people's dreams or meeting them on the astral plane. It's just, I don't know. Hopefully there are other people who've experienced and made it out of their domain like I did. So we can get some context. Maybe they had a different experience. Maybe they spoke to them more, or maybe they had a positive experience with them somehow. And can get some context on it and learn something about it. I don't know.
Don't know how you have a positive experience with these guys. It's like, yeah, I was, like, participating in the chase with them, you know?
I was chasing them back and they were running from me. I was the monster in the Scooby Doo chase. They were Scooby and the gang.
That might be a fun one
If I could do that,
for
yeah.
certain entities.
Huh? Yeah.
Might be a fun one for certain entities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll, round that experience off right about here, unless there's any other details that, come up.
I can't think of any right now, but do you have any questions yourself? And that might help jog memory or awaken something that I didn't think of.
All I can think of is to maybe, like, probe into the, physical appearance more, like, do you remember, like, what a lot of, like, the individuals looked like? So, like, were they, like, somewhat, like, good looking, like, regal, uh, or kinda the opposite end where they, you saw that they were, like, kinda lacking something? Kinda like the vacancy in the eyes that you were describing.
I think they were once good looking, is the thing I would describe them as. They were probably once extremely beautiful and extremely handsome individuals, but they had gotten up in age. But it's not even really necessarily the age, because there's a lot of people that I know that are still attractive even when they're in that age group. It it's almost like they were, obviously they were a lot older than 50s. Like, I got that vibe immediately. They were way more ancient than being in their 50s. But it's almost like they were trying to reclaim something. Maybe them trying to consume me would revitalize them or something. I don't know. But
Help keep their battery charged. I mean, it kinda sounds like, like a loosh harvesting kinda scheme they got going in there. Like, they need you to feel, like, powerless and, like, afraid in there, and that's what they're actually drawing their energy from.
yeah, they had like mostly gray hair, very wrinkled faces, but they looked angry almost like all the time, more like angry or just void of emotion besides anger. They
Mhm.
like permanent, like a permanent resting bitch face.
It was just set
Almost.
into their face.
Yeah, and the men all had like short hair that looked like it was styled with like hair gel, almost like really nicely done, like hair gel. And the women all had their hair done too, but they were all in like pulled up in like buns,
Mhm.
but they all had like almost white gray hair. maybe a little bit of their old hair color still mixed in, like a little bit of salt and pepper mixed in some places, but they wore the regal clothing. They were like 8, 9 foot tall, but they looked like regular humans. Maybe they were just maybe a little bit, I don't know, proportional to their height, so a little bit skinnier, maybe like gaunt.
Okay.
That's what their faces reminded me of. Like they were like very gaunt. It wasn't full faces. It was like wrinkly kind of gaunt bodies and faces. So what I would expect to see someone that has been not eating a lot, I guess. So maybe they were starving or they didn't really have much victims and they were losing strength or something. I don't know. But they they definitely had a taste for the finer things for sure. But it wasn't the right kind of taste they wanted, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. Thank you for coming on and sharing this experience with us, man.
Yeah, one of many. I'm looking forward to sharing the rest of them or more of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely have more installments of Cade's Astral Arena, or as I was initially calling it, Cade the Haymaker Coslow's Astral Arena.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta throw that haymaker first. Immediate response.
And
Anything that hits me on the astral plane, immediate response. Punch.
next time we can dive into uh what which ones do you think you'd like to dive into next?
The next one I want to dive into, I really want to dive into the Naga War,
Hmm.
the Naga special operation mission, and fighting the AI that was controlling them, and like the AI, biomechanical AI, mass that it was spreading. I really want to dive into that because
And
that's
that was like infesting like whole planets and stuff.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
infesting from the outer of the universe, like our known like galaxy. It was infesting on the edge of it. It was coming in. It was infecting whole planets and like spreading. It's whole thing. It's a that's one of my top astral experiences, and it's one of the ones I vividly remember the most, even after all these years since this happened. And I remember it very, very vividly. So
That
it'd
one
be
will
a
be
nice one to just
yeah,
to talk about for sure.
that'll be fun to dive into. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank everybody for tuning in to Piercing the Shroud podcast. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.